my goodness, we're back. Unmute yourselves. Hey guys. Hey.
We're back.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, welcome back. So I just started to do the Instagram. We're live on Instagram as well, everybody. Get excited.
Well, hey y'all. Welcome to the season 3 premiere of Geekin Out.
Exactly.
Hey.
Hey.
You buzzing. He's buzzing. He's got
Oh, that's me. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to
my bad. Hey, shout out to Liz. Easy Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah, we back.
Yeah.
We back.
We back. We in
back.
here.
We here. We
It's
is
been a
in
long
here.
time. We shouldn't have left you.
Left
Get out
you.
of
yeah.
Step two. Yes.
Step 2.
Freaking.
I
Right. All right, y'all. So my name is Ricky Z. I will be hosting tonight's show. Thank you for joining us tonight. I didn't prepare like I was supposed to for all this stuff. You know how we're supposed to have all the things on here. Like, follow us on Instagram and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're on all of the social medias. So like, hello, subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell because you want to be able to know when we are going live.
Particularly my friends, please click the bell so I don't have
Please.
to text you the link every week again. I love you.
I'm just saying.
I just stayed for it, y'all, so it's not me.
It does make it easier. It does make it easier. Just hit that like button, that bell, so then you know.
Just quick things, and subscribe to us so you can always figure out where we are.
Yeah.
We got a message.
I Geeking Out in most places.
Ooh, okay. Keon, who's Keon? Hi, Keon.
Hi, Keon. He's one of my pals. Yale for life, Keon.
Yay! All right. So, like I said, my name is Ricky Z. You can find me at Ricky RICKEY Z_. That's on. Which one is that one? I feel like that is Twitch for sure. Not. If you want to join my personal Twitter, where you'll see me talk shit about Julie Pleck from TVD, you can go to that one for sure. Black Girl Marvel. See, this is my friend from the TikTok. This is my TikTok buddy, Black Girl Marvel. So we're gonna have her on the show soon, because she's about. Look, I'm sorry, I have too many handles. I can't help it. Like, and they're all like renditions because they're not all the same, which is I need to work on. So don't judge me. But no,
sometimes that's hard to do sometimes now because a lot of them will be taken. For example, Bad Juju. When I first made it like years ago, nobody had it. It was easy to do. Now to try and like get that handle again, it's really hard.
Right. This is like how many people actually have the name Ricky Z? Apparently, a lot of people on the internet have Ricky Z. Yeah. But anyways, I am a social media manager, podcast manager, mom, teacher, fangirl. I will talk your ear off about Bonnie Bennett, because it's what she deserves, and I'll be your host tonight because we're talking about the House of the Dragon. Yeah, if you're like on Black Twitter, it's Dim Thrones, probably Dim Dragons. Honestly, we don't say the full name. And then we have. Why is your name Phoebe? Julian.
I don't know. That's actually a very good question. Hi, I'm Phoebe, everybody. Remember? No, because our last episode, our last episode before we left was the Charmed episode, remember? And so we all really picked a character, and I guess my name has never changed.
Right. I figured that. Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, wait, who am I?
Look, Black Girl Marvel. She said, whenever I want to get into a DVD, usually play discussion. Look, right now, whenever, I'm always free for that.
Sign me up because we can have I think we could eventually. She gonna have our lawyers find us because
that's fine.
But it's
fine. It's on site. Honestly, it's on site. Um, so Julian, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at Bad Juju with double B's and double D's. Well, at least at Twitch. 1B if you are looking for me anywhere else, technically. But Instagram for sure. Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook otherwise, and then you can find me on Twitch. I do a little bit of gaming on Twitch. If you guys like League of Legends or anything like that, I play Heroes of the Storm, which is like the Blizzard title version of that. It's really good. It's a good time. But yeah. Otherwise, that's where you can find me. How about you, Tamon? Where can we find you?
You can find me at Tamon Kane on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. And there's something else I just recently did. I can't remember what it is, but you can find me there. So if you can search my name and I pop up, that's probably me. In most cases.
The king of consistency with those social media handles. I wish I could. I wish I could never.
Well, I will say he has a little bit of uniqueness, I guess. That helps.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's okay. So normally we do a drinking game, but not this week. We'll get back into it.
I brought my bottle of wine, but I'm like, am I gonna drink it? There's not really much left. I was like, I'm gonna have it in my arm.
I got my soda for right now. It's honestly when it gets a little bit later and like we're later into the school year, I can get down with some drinking, but right now, no. It's a Monday night and I can't do it.
Like, I need to be efficient after this.
Right. I gotta be able to go to bed and then eventually wake up at a timely manner.
That's why you need spelling calls.
We should still play the drinking game though for our viewers who are drinking with us instead. Even if we are not, we should still. So I don't know if we picked a word.
Well, I'm picking dragons.
I vote dragons.
Okay, we'll be very well. If you're drinking with us, you will be very drunk by the end of this. Good luck.
Right. I'm gonna open up my can of soda, but yes.
Don't remember the drinking game. When you see the word, hear the word, smell the word, in this case, feel the word dragon, you have to take a drink. Dracarys. That counts too.
I'm gonna take it. Yes. See, if you're wondering why there's only 3 of us and not 4, the blur, Julian. The
filter.
It's a filter. It's a blur filter.
Yeah.
For your background.
So you don't see the light, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So Jermaine is, I guess he's on his way. He should be here soon. So Jermaine is our jack of all fandoms. He should be back in a moment. He's not disappeared. He has not disappeared. Just he's not here with us at this very moment.
We'll answer the question. No one got recasted. It's still a foursome. He is coming back. We'll go ahead and
yes. We're not gonna just get rid of a random sister and then add in another random person.
No, sorry.
No. All right, so thank y'all for joining us tonight. So first thing we're going to do is a Ricky's rant.
Yes.
I want to do a Ricky's rant today. It's been a while since I've done one. I feel like it's needed. Plenty of people probably have seen or heard, or it's been a really big thing lately, particularly with the announcement of a certain Disney princess in a live action film.
On this rant,
the melanation, the melanin of certain mystical creatures, feature in a token series in the series that we're talking about today, y'all. Oh, and not even just that, She-Hulk. Woke media. Wokeness in media. Wokeness in media is not a thing, y'all. And I'm gonna just throw that out there right now. Like, all those folks that are complaining about, the fact that Halle Bailey's Ariel in Little Mermaid, the fact that there's black people in what's the
House of Dragons,
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're upset about that. They're upset about She-Hulk twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. Y'all, There's no such thing as wokeness. Woke is a term from African American English or vernacular English, depending on who you talk to. Wokeness just means to be aware. Woke just means be aware. Don't be sleeping on what's going on around you. That's all it means. And then in the last like 5 or 6 years, the term has been bastardized in particularly in like political media to mean diversity. Just like a undercover word for diversity, equality,
Affirmative
adding
action.
affirmative action, adding just a smidge of color into somebody's TV show.
And
That's not what
all these things are like terrible.
right. Like I'm sorry, but
like what?
and then the links, the stretch, the reach people have. I mean, literally the reach people have to just the reach. Okay, that people have for being upset about it. Talking about it scientifically isn't possible for a mermaid to have color.
Unbelievable.
I'm sorry,
Unbelievable.
Oh, because the
unbelievable.
skin can get sun?
Unbelievable.
Not the fact that it's a mystical creature that lives under the water and not real.
Also, because the sun doesn't touch the water ever. You know what I mean? Like you don't get tan in the water. You don't get sunburn while you're in the
I
water.
guess not.
You get
I
all
guess
of this.
not.
Absolutely. Like hello, get out of here. My favorite
Right.
was the one meme I saw.
Sound.
But I'm not actually I shouldn't repeat it here.
Well, anyway.
I will say I 1000% agree with you. I have very strong opinions about inclusion in television and in film. I have, and there may be polarizing views from different sides of the track.
Right.
But, I'm all for making it inclusive and diverse when it makes sense to the storyline. Not fiction. Well, fiction, but not a Disney character. Ariel can be purple or blue. So if we really want to go that route, okay, cool. Let's just make her amphibian.
Right.
That too, an amphibian with red hair.
Are you like are you really gonna be upset about that?
You want to see Species in a red wig?
Yeah.
And not just any red wig. It got to be like a clown red wig. They're like upset about that. But let's be real though, because like with the issue with Halle Bailey, there is an issue because the director said he saw her perform at the Grammys one good time and said, "I need her to audition for this role." She auditioned, was the first one.
And
he said, right. Well, and he said that she set the bar so high, the only other person that could reach that bar and go over it was Halle Bailey herself.
Yep. Look at that.
I mean, if you want to talk about, well, why can't we get the best person for the role? Why does it have to be about color? Well, there we go.
We got the best.
We got the person from the room. The voice.
That's how this happened, because honestly, if it wasn't, if he picked somebody off of like Blackpink, for example, you know what I mean? If they were, if they had wowed him like that, and that was the case, then
they would have been pissed about that too.
Would be pissed. But it's like, but here we are. This is
here we are.
And the perfect person isn't always going to fit the look that you think that they would,
Right.
But if we're supposed to always evolve, that means what we see and consume on television is supposed to evolve as well. So of course she may be black, or she may be Asian or blue. Who knows? She may be a lesbian too. We don't know any of that. I'm not saying that, that I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, who knows? But these stories are created in a time that reflected what the audience could consume. That has changed.
Right.
You can handle more aggressive tones or themes.
So, like that brings a very good point when you're talking about, because of hearing the argument, especially when it comes to, period media. So something that's with a medieval, otherworldly type of background, like Game of Thrones, like Lord of the Rings, like Wheel of Time, even, and it's supposed to be reminiscent of something like Europe back in like medieval times, and people automatically assume that there weren't black people there or people of color in general. There are plenty of people of color.
P.S. But out of all those, Wheel of Time has definitely got a stronger on that, because they
have by far.
Oh my god, so many different
organically, is it systematically? They woven those different ethnicities
right.
in that story.
And I'm just saying, like when you consider the time period of what it's supposed to resemble, like they were people of color back then, as opposed to how they have been written, where it's through the gaze of every character is white.
Yeah.
So
That's
like how they've been written doesn't necessarily line up to how the time period that you're so sure of was back then anyway.
a majority, maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is, with fictional worlds, they're not they're like directly reflective of like eight like 1342 Sweden. Like 1342 Sweden might have been mostly white people, and especially when it comes to the nobles and stuff. But in a fictional world that's supposed to look like 1522 Sweden or whatever, they can have whatever's there as long as the architecture and the clothing looks right.
Right.
They can be whatever ethnicity they need to be.
And really, and the thing is, like, they're also like this. It's a world building in themselves. Like Game of Thrones is literally its own world of itself.
It's its own world.
So, like, why not? Why not have these things?
And even more so, to your point, in a fictional world like Westeros and in Game of Thrones, it doesn't matter what we make people. We can make them whatever we want. They can be purple. They can be black. They can be whatever.
Exactly that.
Or like an Ariel.
So all of this to say, get over it
quickly.
That
now.
Reminds me
quickly
of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. One of the things that bothered me about that series, they turned Mermista into like an Indian girl. Fine. Beautiful. They gave her like Indian clothing or whatever. But she's a princess of like this mermaid kingdom. Or supposed to be a mermaid kingdom, but it's like a seafaring kingdom.
Ooh.
They made her very Indian, but nothing else of the kingdom. Nothing else of the kingdom.
See, that's
nobody else
right
in the kingdom.
Look. If that's another thing. When writers, TV writers, come on, I need y'all to really think about it. When you have people of color in your stories, in your movies, in your TV shows, books, whatever, you're going to have to follow through, and that means going beyond just the character. But if you're going to give them some background, you have to incorporate that with their background, with their backstory, their family, their surroundings, things like that. You have to do that, or it just feels inauthentic.
For an example, having Bonnie Bennett, all of Bonnie Bennett's spells being Latin and not really reaching back when her ancestor was Ketsia, and she's back in Egypt and the Golden Age and all those time periods. So I know they wouldn't speak in Latin like that. They were probably, but she was definitely speaking other languages versus Latin. And so that was a problem. But you get to originals, and
Bring
now
me the Swahili.
Exactly. Now everyone's doing French,
right?
Or Haitian Creole actually, but everyone's doing Haitian Creole in the originals. What was Bonnie?
Look, that's a whole nother. Ooh, someone's got the sirens going.
Fix it.
Sorry, that's us.
Oh man, okay. Well, okay, so first of all, welcome back, Jermaine. You can find Jermaine on Instagram as Jafar, and it's the same on Twitch and TikTok and all those places.
It's the same on TikTok and YouTube.
Ooh, okay. Yay, this is our Jack of all fandoms. We're so glad for him to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad I got this to work.
You've been so booked and busy. I'm like, is he going to be able to sign his contract for the next season?
Stop.
It's 3.
Right. We're just like,
not gonna lie, I spent this entire break trying to get like home internet, but like not like stupid satellite. Like HughesNet is so bad. It's so bad. The speed, like it. Okay, if it's satellite internet that's supposed to be for my house, why is my phone's hotspot faster?
That question.
Yes.
That question.
Tweet that. You should tweet that to them and ask
Honestly. Because that's an issue. Like, why is that my phone hotspot is faster than my Ethernet cord? I don't understand. Make it make sense.
I have a feeling it's tiered. It might be tiered. You know what I mean? Depending on how much
I mean, like, I remember like getting like the highest when I was back in my apartment. So if y'all couldn't tell, like, I've moved.
Yeah.
But when I was back in my apartment, like, I ended up getting like the highest speed for my internet. I think it was at least a gig.
Yeah.
And it would still mess up. Like, I'm trying to stream. I can't, like, my kids literally could not watch anything on using the internet. Be like, y'all can watch some DVDs. It's really bedtime for y'all. Y'all really shouldn't be up anyway. Like, they could not be on the internet for nothing. Like, don't even have your Alexas on. Turn them Alexas off. You can do it. Don't ask Alexa nothing.
You ask Alexa anything, that's it.
Don't say Alex. Don't say anything close to Alexa.
No, don't even say, "Hey Google." Okay, don't even do it.
But Ricky, to be honest, I found some of these memes and gifs very hilarious.
Of what?
There was one of Ariel, Chloe playing Ariel, and then beside it was Martin Luther King biopic with Mel Gibson.
Stop.
Yes.
It's very disrespectful, but it was hilarious.
Okay, but also, so while that may be funny, let me also bring up that point too. All right, it's not a good comparison to ask, well, if we were to take some of those classic black black characters and made white people in it, like, would y'all be upset about that? Number one. Yes. All right. So number one, we have one black Disney princess in the how many years have we had Disney princesses? One. And let's remember, she spent the majority of her movie as a frog. But also, her blackness ties to her character. She's a poor black girl in Louisiana trying to start her own business. Someone mentioned, what if we took the story of Roots and made it all white?
That's some dumb shit. That's
very disrespectful. That's so disrespectful.
I you know what? Someone mentioned an all white color purple. I want to see y'all try. Like,
oh god, everybody's going down.
Right, like y'all are completely forgetting like a lot of these stories, these classic stories. Most of these stories that we all go up for, their blackness. The blackness is rooted in the story. It drives the plot. Like, it's part of the story. Y'all.
Even the Bible. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have to say that.
Y'all better find y'all real picture of Jesus.
It's true. And then they act as if like they haven't throughout history.
That's my point.
Systematically whitewash characters consistently. Like, it has happened so many times.
Who played Cleopatra?
So many instances.
Oh my god, Elizabeth Taylor. But like, what if we made Pocahontas white? Pocahontas was a real person. Mulan.
But still, like, her Native Americanness is tied to her character. You know what I mean?
Right. But like her real name wasn't Pocahontas, but like the whole, like, her heritage is what drives the story.
Right.
Mulan being Chinese and being a Chinese girl going to war in the place of her Chinese father drives the story. It's a major part of the plot. Like that's what happens when people a story goes.
let's not act as if they wouldn't try to make her a white girl anyway.
Yeah. But it's the completely forgetting that a lot of the stories that feature or star people of color, stories of color, like that drives, that's part of the plot, that's part of the characterization, like them being Latina or black or Asian, like that's part of the story because a lot of our stories are based around those things.
What's a shame is that they don't realize is that in itself is like a racist indication. You get me? The only time we're made any space for us is when the story is intrinsically about us. You get me?
Right.
There's no other way to whitewash it. So we have to be in it. We have to tell that story that is our experience and things like that.
That's like the, you know, that there's a Emmett Till movie coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
Like would you want to change that real child as a real child and change the race of that story just to make yourself feel better when like that it wouldn't make sense for the story because it's all part of the situation, like it drives the plot of the story.
That one we wouldn't even have a movie. So.
Right, thank you. It wouldn't be an Emmett Till story.
Right.
It wouldn't.
It would be a Caroline story, probably.
It's like making Martin Luther King white. I'm sorry. And literally his entire struggle is about blackness, you know, and the entire play, you know, everything that makes his story a story is about blackness. So it's like, like making him white would just make the story not really there, essentially. So it's
yes,
like, it's a stupid comparison.
Yes, but because before we go down like a bigger rabbit hole, just so y'all know, Geeking Out is moving to every other Monday instead of every Monday, because you know, it's hard. It's hard to do this every Monday, but it's okay. But for now, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break, and I'm super excited for y'all to see this because this is the teaser, the opening for a new project that's coming out next month. So get ready.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm so excited.
Hey, me too.
Tell us about it, Tamon.
Yes, me and a bunch of my horror buddies, we came together. I have this show called Scream Kings, and we are discussing everything you can think about horror related and some really funny and cool things. Even if you're not the biggest horror fan, you will love the show. Ricky was there. She has a episode with us where we talk about witches and werewolves and vampires. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. Time, so make sure you guys tune in. You'll start seeing promos and trailers very soon. It's gonna be a hoot.
I'm so excited. Ooh, hi Marcus.
Hi.
So yes, I'm so excited for that to start. It'll be in October. You'll start seeing some promo for that soon, so keep an eye out for that. Especially because you know we're in the beginnings of the spooky season. Yes, we know that October is Halloween month, but like September is when the spooky starts to come out. So yes, okay. So let's get into it, y'all. Them dragons. Take a drink, y'all.
Oops. Yeah, dragons, y'all. Okay, so sorry for anyone who's been watching or was watching on Instagram. My phone kind of overheated.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, she needs a break.
Doing phones today is not the thing.
No. Oh, so okay, yeah. Story time, really fast. Julian dropped in the toilet. Oh man, can I tell you? It was a really like like a heart-stopping moment. I was like, no, and I like reached in after it without even thinking. I was just like, ah. I mean, it was fine. I already like flushed and stuff, so everything was like clean. But I was just like, I didn't even think. I was just like, no.
Oh no, I hate it for you. I hate it for
I
you.
know. So really, I'm just sad about like the pictures. It's always the pictures that gets me. I'm like,
Right.
it's the one thing I never like, put on the cloud because it always takes up all the effing space. And it's the one thing I always lose. I hate it. But
That's
anyway.
why I got I have my business email, but like at some point I just start adding pictures to that email, to that Google Drive, because it's got the most space on there. Eventually I'll go through and delete stuff, but like, whew.
I just pay for more space. Hi, Bobby.
Bobby.
That's one of my fellow Scream Kings. He has a dope podcast with another one of our Kings, Michael. You guys should definitely check it out. I'll drop all that info in the chat. Yeah, I can do that.
Drop it in the chat. Yeah. Also, we'll make sure we follow Bobby, follow all of us, and especially Bobby, you got to send us some promo to promote your podcast on here.
You'll do. Actually, Bobby, drop your stuff there.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll share it on screen.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with if you guys remember when Game of Thrones was hot and popping, how long ago has it been since Game of Thrones ended?
Jesus.
So like in the earliest seasons, early aughts of Game of Thrones, that was the hashtag Dim Thrones. I'm gonna just say Dim Dragons. I'm sure someone has. I haven't been live tweeting.
Drink.
So do people live tweet like that anymore?
Do they?
I don't know how to do it. So.
I mean,
I've never done
it. Do it all the time.
Or anyway.
Like back when Scandal was on and big, like I'd live tweet that. I would live tweet like TV shows all the time. I don't get on Twitter enough for that. Isn't that bad? And like when I watch House of the Dragons, like I'm not watching it like live in real time. I'm watching it probably 30 minutes after it's posted on HBO Max.
Yeah.
No, that's how it is right now.
I literally had to binge it because after the first couple of episodes, I was bored.
Oh, really?
Not bored. I just wasn't like, wow. But that's how I was with the original one. I had to watch it. The first 3 episodes to get hooked into it.
That's understandable. And I think right now, because so here's the problem that we are getting with shows lately, and particularly with like big epic tales, is that when we are starting over in a sense, so we're having this issue with Marvel, or people are having this issue with Marvel in Phase 4, where like after we've just ended on this big epic battle of some sort, and then we're starting back at the beginning, and so now we have to go back to the ground level and build, and people aren't patient enough to let it build. So like right now we're building things. There's been several heavy moments right now in the first 5 episodes, but like if I'm assuming it's supposed to be several seasons long, so if we're doing that, it's got to build. It's got to build a little bit. Like it can't be in game already.
No, but it's great. It was just me connecting with the characters for me. Like I'd end up really liking the daughter, the
Rhaenyra.
What's her name?
Rhaenyra.
I end up really liking her.
I like her a lot.
And then towards the end, I started liking her her BFF.
Former BFF.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler, y'all. If y'all haven't figured it out yet, we're gonna do some spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoiler. Allison.
Yes, Allison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I do like her a little more now. Like, you know what I mean? She's grown on me a little more.
Well, I'm most excited to see her recast.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know who that is?
What is the name? So like Olivia Cook. Yeah, Olivia Cook will be Alison Hightower.
Mm-hmm.
Who will be the new Rhaenyra? The new Rhaenyra will be Emma Darcy. I don't know. Yeah, like I'm really liking Millie Alcock. I mean, so let's say like right now, Millie and Emily Carey, uh, acting in these first 5 episodes have been great. So like, I'm kind of excited to see what they do later on. But like, I kind of miss the younger
Yeah,
versions of their characters.
yeah. But I'm excited to see Aura come back
Mm-hmm.
on screen, and she's gonna kill that role if she's a bitchy queen.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, so let's do a little recap. So we have um we're about 200 years before Daenerys, um, and we have the Targaryen ruling Westeros, King's Landing, um, and this is not necessarily in the beginning of their reign. It's like towards the middle, getting towards the end
Mhm.
of their time on the Iron Throne. And so we have Viserys, who has been named king instead of Princess. Is it Rhaena?
Renice. I think she's Renice.
Rhaenys. So we have Viserys, and then the queen that never was,
Rhaenyra, I think.
Rhaenyra, who is actually the daughter of the previous king.
Mm-hmm.
But was passed over because he decided to do a small council and let them choose who the heir would be. Which shitty on his part. So right now you have
Yeah,
Viserys, who's kind of like meh as a king,
Mm.
Oh
and
no,
so
I
he's
like him.
I like him as a king. Stop.
I,
Thanks.
you know,
I don't like that everyone keeps calling him like weak and all these other things. And I'm like, actually, I think he's actually working for the people. You know what I mean? It's
I
Yeah.
all
don't know if he's necessarily working for the people as much as that like he's kind of gotten himself in a predicament, like which is really no fault of his own as much as it's part of like the patriarchy. Is that like okay, so King's Landing, like they will not bow down to a woman as on the Iron Throne. So you have Viserys, and so but and now he has to go through the mission of like having an heir. And for the longest time, it's just Rhaenyra for what good decade or two, 17, because we don't get Aegon until
All the
after
other
his
kids
first
have
wife.
died as infants.
Right, exactly. So like you're kind of like having to go through the process like getting another wife after your wife has died in childbirth and like making sure that new wife gives you an heir. So but by that point, um that first episode, Emily, or is it Emma? Her name's Emma, who is Viserys' wife, Rhaenyra's mom, dies in childbirth. Um she did have a son, but child died in childbirth. And
He died
so
2 hours
now
later.
yes. Uh, then Viserys is being pressured by his council, particularly Otto Hightower, which is the hand of the king, um, saying, "Hey, you need to get
I
married,"
think
pushing his
I think
daughter in his direction.
Viserys's issue is that he is a kind king. He cares about what other
Hmm.
people thinks, and he's
Yes.
so caught up in tradition
Yes.
and so caught up with what the council thinks because he likes being king, but he's not like a tyrannical king, and he's not. He never lusted for that power. He never wanted to be king so bad that he's
I'll
willing
give
to like
that.
stab
I,
people in the back for it, like Damon is.
right. I'll give you that because he's not power hungry. I think what's getting to him is the pressure from outsiders
Hmm.
to keep a hold of the throne, and what does that mean for him? Like, what does he need to have to keep it there?
I think I love the fact that he's like a father also, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that he leads with his he leads. I think he leads his people correctly. He feels like a stern leader, but also he's about the kingdom, and
Right.
that's what I really like about him. The throne above all else, and I get that, and I respect that tradition. But he also allowed for his daughter to become heir, so he's trying to move the thing forward. I think he's a really great king. Actually, he's flawed, but who isn't?
Right. Now, so here's the thing with naming Rhaenyra as heir. Part of it is, number one, she should be the next in line because she's the oldest. She's
She's
the
his only
firstborn.
kid.
She's the only kid at this point. But we also know that it was kind of like a slap in the face to Daemon, which is Viserys' brother. So technically, according to Westeros' tradition, the first male should be considered the heir. And because at that point he didn't have any living sons, it would go to Daemon as his heir. But he did a whole switcheroo and said, "No, what? Nah," because Daemon's acting.
He's reckless and
He's wild. He's wilding out. We're gonna
Daemon's
name Rhaenyra.
wilding.
He was wilding. He was wilding, but like you couldn't necessarily say he wasn't doing his job.
You could, because he was going above and beyond
above
his station
Mm.
for of what he like. That
He was
scene when
essentially being
he
like
and the gold cloaks were like,
here.
"Oh, King's Landing is a mess. We have to go
Right.
through and get rid of all the dangerous people." And they're just walking through the town and just
And
pointing
just
at people like,
stuff
"You,
up.
you're a thief. You're a rapist. You
Right.
like."
Yeah.
They weren't even catching people in the act. They were just like accusing people and killing people up for it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He reminds me like Daemon from Vampire Diaries.
Just reckless.
Just badass. And I like that. And Eric Northman from
True Blood? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They have that same swag. Something in me about the brother makes me think he's the that Frozen King. I can't think of his name.
Oh yeah. So that's a theory. Yeah, that is a theory.
Yeah, something about that makes me think that he's going to end up being that guy behind the wall.
That's a great. That's a good idea. I didn't even think that. But
I would love that though. Honestly.
Yeah, he has a dragon.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome. Honestly. So that was the first episode. Rhaenyra is named heir, and then there's not necessarily a bit of a fallout, but some scrambling because yes, Rhaenyra's heir, but like there's still this desire for Viserys to remarry, have other children to possibly kind of like not necessarily usurp, but to secure the
be
throne.
An actual male heir.
The actual male heir. Yes, yes, exactly that. Ooh, someone says
King Henry VIII syndrome.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
he seems more ancient.
Yeah. Well, okay, so there's based off of what some of the other podcasts I've listened to and some of the stories that I've heard is that Viserys, was it Viserys' parents or their grandparents? They're the one that built the wall and like were the part of the start of like the Night Watch. And so based on like them like realizing, oh, there's something beyond this part of the kingdom that we
that was prophecy. Remember, Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
That's like their family legacy. That's when they built the wall because of the prophecy.
Yes,
they did.
That he would one day come.
They did the one thing that all anime parents do, which is they fought their war against the Night King, and then they beat him, but instead of killing him, they just sealed him away. And they said, okay, we got this. Make sure he doesn't get unsealed, and we're good. And then
hundreds of years pass, and
later,
then
he gets unsealed. And now it's your great grandkids' problem.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
And I think the problem with that is that like it's the tales of like old Valyria and the old reign of the Targaryen family. Like a lot of things become like myths and legends, and so like everything gets lost in translation between that point when it happens and then like when shit hits the fan later on 200 300 years later. So it's like, what the
Mm-hmm.
hell? Like, what were we doing between then and now to not have this happen
Hunting the
again?
dragons to extinction.
That too.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Why?
That always happens. Ever notice? There's always like the dragon hunt. There's always a great dragon hunt.
All great things get hunted. Witches.
Dragon hunt, witch hunt, lost.
Dragons. I've heard dragons like 4 times now.
Oh shit.
That's true. That's true.
Magic.
Yeah. Something that can only be controlled by a few and not many.
Americans, people of color, whatever.
Look, we got a soapbox somewhere around here. We can get on it. That's the thing, like powerful beings or like magic or power that can only be controlled by a few. And if you're not a part of that few, that makes you pissed off, and so therefore you have to destroy it as much as possible.
Right. Ever noticed?
Jermaine, you froze.
I love that photo. Let me do a screenshot.
Right. Someone take a screenshot of this and send it to us.
I'm doing it right now. Print screen.
Okay. So, all right. So past the second episode, we're all seeing just kind of like the fallout. Oh man, the fallout of Viserys choosing Rhaenyra as heir. Trying to get married. Corlys Valerian. Who they're distant cousins, right? So so Corlys' wife is cousins, which is the queen that never was.
Sorry.
I hate it. So they are trying to marry off their daughter to Viserys. She's 12. He's like, nah, I'm good on that. Even though there would be some advantages, except for the incest stuff, to that pairing. Then
that would have been the houses that he does.
And then instead he chooses Alicent Hightower, which is the daughter of the Hand of the King, which starts the strain between Rhaenyra and Alicent because they are A1 since day one, and not so much anymore. And then I think one of the things that like kind of bothered me was the time jumps. So between at least like the first 2 episodes, there's probably like a few months of a time jump. Between the second one and the third one, when like 2 or 3 years. It's about 2 years because by that point when we get to episode 3, Alicent has had Aegon and he's about to turn 1. So, got married, got pregnant. That's at least 9 months. And then another year for the child. That's about 3 years. And then next episode after that, she's had her second child because she's pregnant in that third episode. Yeah. She's popping out some babies. Bless her. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we see another time jump. By this point, Rhaenyra is 17, 18. Like people from other houses are asking for her hand in marriage. And she's like, nah, I don't want that. And that's pissing him off because he's getting pressured to marry her off, but also like he's getting Loki getting pressure, or because his hand is like sly trying to like make moves like about this. He's trying to get his grandson Aegon to be named as heir to the throne over Rhaenyra.
And Rhaenyra off, then she can't be heir any longer. She'll be someone else's queen,
right?
Lady. So,
and as used as a pawn as women were and are as a way to, gain more power and whatever.
Right.
And the thing is, like with Alicent and Rhaenyra, like their relationship's already strained because that's not her stepmom. She's given birth to a couple of her siblings now, one that could possibly be named as heir if the king felt like it. And like Allison's trying to like keep a hold of that idea of that Rhaenyra is supposed to be heir. Until she lies in the next episode 4, about her maidenhood. Because of course, if you know the history of Targaryens, they are into incest. they keep it in the family. The situation with Daemon and Rhaenyra. Daemon takes Rhaenyra out into
the
whorehouse. Why go out to the streets? Someone peeps and sees them doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing, and sends it back to Hightower and tells the king there's this whole issue. She's trying to deny the fact that anything happened. Technically, not much happened with Daemon, but she did get it done with Sir Criston.
Can I just say how hot and bothered she was after leaving the?
She was. That's why. That's why.
The first night she could. Here.
Here.
And she had
also, that was kind of rapey though. P.S. That was a little rapey though, because it was like, if anything, it's weird because it's in the reverse now, and then even worse so because she's only supposed to be like 19, right? But you know, she's aged between the first few episodes. But when we first see her, bitch doesn't look any different. You get me? You still look like the 14-year-old girl you looked like when they first presented.
Yeah.
Like you still like. This is already awkward as it is, and then
the one. And so the thing is though, like this is giving like Sir Criston like a complex in a way that we see in this most recent episode where like number one he took an oath to be chaste.
He's supposed to be like Templar or whatever, and
right. He's because of the night he's supposed to be chaste, and so that's done messed up. He apparently has feelings for Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's like, I like you too, but like,
I'm trying to get this paper. I'm about
right. I ain't gonna fill the bag for this.
But listen, my new boo, he like, if you do your thing, I'll do my thing.
Right.
You just can't come to the functions and stuff in the meeting.
And so with the supposed, well, it's not supposed, but like as far as they know, they don't really know what the real deal is up until this last episode. Daemon's claiming that he took her maidenhood, and he really didn't. But he's like, "Let me marry her," which is kind of his way of securing his spot on the throne. And I guess I don't know if it's hard to tell with Daemon.
I think but I don't think they're just all jockeying for like a spot on the throne. So Hightower.
But also, like, there's like, I hate to say this because it's gross, but like, there's chemistry between them. So I don't know if it's like if he actually like feels a thing for her, and it's weird, but also, and so because all this drama and issues has done pissed him off, Viserys is like, "You're gonna marry your cousin." You're gonna marry your cousin,
but your cousin.
But your cousin.
This whole thing.
You're gonna marry your cousin, son of the sea snake, and we're gonna get this thing back on track. And then, of course, we like Tamon had mentioned like, what's his name, Sir Lanner? That's the cousin Valerian.
Oh yeah,
cousin Valerian. Yes, is like, okay. But Rhaenyra is like, okay, well, I know you don't swing that way, and that's fine because I got my own boo on the side, so you got yours, I got mine, and we can keep it cute for the rest for Westeros. We can keep it cute.
I'm so upset. We just have to have one big joint meeting about what this future looks like for the four of us. Versus how messy ass bitch, how that messy ass bitch got what coming to him because he didn't have to do it that way.
Right.
You could play your role and shut your mouth.
Stay in your lane. So at some point, so I'm trying to do a quick recap. And so this last episode, Sir Criston for some reason turned into a bitch. He didn't know his place. He wasn't trying to be a side bitch no more. He wanted to be the main chick.
Run away with me.
And do what? And do what?
Do what?
I just don't understand why the end though. That's what I'm still trying to. That's the one part that's got me. I'm like, why would you clap? Like, where did this come from? Out of nowhere, chaos out of nowhere.
I'm just so people are comparing this little rinky-dink wedding that wasn't much, wasn't fit for a princess or heir, honestly. Is they are comparing it to the red wedding of the original series.
Not even.
No, that one had like a purpose. This one, I feel like that's my point. So I get that, like, you know, there's a whole Maluma song about it, entre los cuatro. You know what I mean? So like between us four, you know, like we have this function kind of thing going, but like the two side pieces get into this fight. For why? Because he says to him, he's like, and if anything, he's like, so let's just make this easy. Let's just be the side pieces, and all four of us can just.
He's like, I don't want to be the whore. I'm like, dude.
That's what you said to her. I'm your whore.
We can make this work.
You said it, not me. My God, dang.
And then
or talk to me.
And then Kristoff gets mad about it and then kills him over it, which makes no sense to me.
It was a hate crime.
It was a hate crime. It was. No, because for real, I'm sorry, but like and this is kind of like one of those other things they're talking about, like how it's kind of like a switch on the I'm king, I have a wife, but I got all these girls in the back. Whereas Rhaenyra, she's like, I'm considered the heir, queen, I'm married, but let me have my thing on the side because obviously this thing right here is not really a thing.
Yeah. It's a cool approach to open marriage, open union. For sure.
And you know, and the thing is though, like
reflective of our own misogynistic,
it is,
you know, societies and things. Also, P.S. that whole union of them in general is like, it's very like, you know, you cannot be your openly the sexuality that you are,
right?
So here you are instead kind of playing at heirs where you get a fake ass wife, you know, and she like, you all have this agreement where it's like, you know, we look like this in public, but in real life that's not how things are. So
I know, and like, and my thing with Sir Kriston, like, you would have had it made, honestly. Like, I mean, I guess there's the moral issue of like, I'm supposed to be chaste and not do this, but like, if that was,
that plays a big part.
I'm like,
he's not allowed to have kids with her,
right?
Not even.
So was
her kids, and more importantly,
Jamie Lannister, and we know he wasn't.
Right.
More importantly, there's no opting out of that. She has to do that. Her heirs have to be this guy's. So it's like they're supposed to be in love, but like, you know, he wants to have a family, obviously.
You have to pull out, or
but also just like, okay, so like if either you play side piece, but you still keep your station,
or you don't, because killing the other side piece,
right? Like, or you don't, and like, and both of y'all are you know what? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm with Rhaenyra. Like, I'm not down with the struggle. Like, I don't
want to do this.
If I'm gonna struggle, I'm gonna struggle by myself, and this is not it.
Rhaenyra said, "I am the throne."
Right.
I can't renounce the throne. I am the throne.
No, I can do that all by myself. I don't need this.
Listen, Aladdin, go ahead and get on the proper ride and go sail on by yourself. Okay?
Go back to
that is going to be its own thing, because we haven't even seen her on the throne yet, and she's already got all this drama and all this pushback from people and we haven't even seen yet. So that's
the throne's nature. I love it.
Oh yes, all right, them dragons, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the dragons.
Not the
dragons. I love having more dragons.
Brontosaurus.
Oh, there's like 19 dragons in this bit.
Okay, so so let's talk about that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to talk about the characters. We gotta talk about the characters. But before we do that, let me see. Did I say we're gonna do a commercial real quick?
No, we're gonna do a quick ASMR.
I need to use it.
No, so let's
vote against the commercial because my connection is shoddy at best.
Okay, we'll do a quick thoughts on the characters right now because
one moment.
Yeah. Oh.
He was like, I was really banking on that commercial. It's okay.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
We'll do a quick. We're gonna do some quick thoughts on the characters right now. So right now, like the biggest thing is because they're about to switch actresses for these characters. So we have Rhaenyra and Alicent. Alicent is starting to come into her own. We see her in the beginning where she's just the friend of Rhaenyra.
She's the best friend.
She's the best friend. And then,
and
lucky
then
her.
she gets
She's
elevated to, oh, by the way, I'm your stepmom.
I'm your stepmom. I'm the queen. But not even just that. I'm giving your father's multiple children heirs, possible heirs. With my dad just kind of like in my ear, your dad's ear.
So do you think she's a little jealous of Rhaenyra's ability and room to rebel the way that she does? Where Alicent,
for sure.
Alicent has to play by the book. She has to do her duty. She always has to be obedient.
Well, she feels like she has to do her duty, and she feels like it is her duty to make her dad's dreams come true and do what her dad says. So she's that best friend. She is the Harper to Rhaenyra's Alex. If we're talking Wizards of Waverly Place.
Stop it. Stop it. Oh my goodness. I mean, because think about it though. So I definitely believe that she was jealous because at first she starts off as her dad calls her the homeliest girl in the kingdom, like, but she's not, like, rude, right? And so right now,
supposed to be a good thing. No, homely is supposed to be a good thing, which is everything worse. The whole point here is that I think that there's actually a little bit of like even more incestuous nature there, where even her Hightower the Hand has a little thing for Alicent, his daughter, which is
I don't think it's that deep, but at the same time, if you as a parent have a hot kid, you have eyes, you know your kid is hot. You're gonna tell like.
But then I mean, and in that respect, he also, I guess that's true. That's an observation, I suppose, you can have, because he uses that to his advantage. That's why he pushes her. You know.
Yeah, it's no different. It's no different from going to school to find a doctor to marry. It's all about strategy and planning for your future. And
I think Hightower took advantage of the fact that, like, yes, she's very quiet and like subdued, and I think that was able to push that as a good alternative for Viserys to eventually marry, because they did have these little intimate conversations, and it wasn't like she was being your idea of like overly aggressive and like suggestive to her. She was just kind of like sitting there talking to him, watching little crafts his little shit together, whatever. Anyways, but she just kind of she was able to insert herself in a way that like a good foundation of a friendship could start for him to feel like he could trust her.
It was really genuine about it, if anything, and I think that played to her strength, I guess, was that she genuinely care. You know what I mean? She knows that he's actually a caring person, because I think what helps is because she's Rhaenyra's bestie. She already knows this man. You got me? She's like, that's my best friend's dad. Right. So just like, oh, I know this man and stuff. So like, I know how he is. I know. Okay, first of all, Jermaine, what is happening over there? Have you? This requires a print screen, everybody.
Oh my god!
Screenshot, everyone. 3, 2.
Alright, this is poor guy. He's gonna be so sad when we put this on the internet. Oh, I can't. He's back.
So the thing is though, like, so she's jealous, and she could be jealous of the fact, best friend is at one point heir to the throne, but also when she gets this opportunity, she's like, you would think like becoming queen or queen consort would be like, that's like the ultimate like dream for a young girl at this point. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm the queen, but I'm just here to pop out babies.
I'm really with the machine. I get filled up and I put them out. Filled up.
Right.
Essentially that. But I'm wearing nice silks while I do it.
Yeah.
Hey, my hair is always quabs.
I guess.
Yeah, I am still queen. So.
And my nails are Doubtbridge,
but then there's the whole like idea of like what you're allowed to do even as queen and how you're having to keep up appearances. Whereas Rhaenyra, she does in a sense, but also she's free to do what she wants. Like she's free to go ride on a dragon for the most part and just kind of stay away if she wants to because she doesn't want to be there around her new stepmom and siblings.
She used to be like that. I don't think she's really allowed to do that so much now. And I think that maybe in like the first episode, the second, but they do a lot of jump in between. By the time we hit that 3-year jump, I think that she becomes a lot more mature and a lot more attentive to her politicking. That's the word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but what I think is also, even though Alicent is kind of stuck where she is, and she's like, oh, I'm the queen consort, and what am I doing? I'm just popping out babies. I think that she actually does more, but we don't see that in the show. But I think in the book, she's a little bit more politically savvy. So she jockeys around the court a little bit differently because, if anything, she's learning that from her father, who's expert at it. So there's thrones and the game of houses going on in the background.
There was a moment before, I think it was before the biggest time jump so far, where I think the princess was outside. She was either reading, drawing, or writing, and she had a harpist or someone out there.
Yes.
And then the queen consort, she told them to stop, but they were Rhaenyra wanted them to keep playing, but the queen consort told them to stop, and they stopped. And then she said, "Oh, she did." I'm glad she actually established and showed dominance in that scene.
Right.
She was still the queen, and I think she needed that.
Yeah.
I agree. So thoughts on Rhaenyra. So I agree to like Rhaenyra. I was looking at her real crazy where the fourth episode where it's like the issues of what she was doing out in the town with Daemon, and is their maidenhood still intact? And she's like, shut up. I swear on my dead mother, no such thing happened. I was not touched by Daemon.
But she wasn't.
She was touched, but nothing was consummated.
She said he didn't. She said he didn't lay a hand on me.
She did say he didn't touch me. He did touch her a little bit, but
he touched her a little bit. But the fact that her maidenhood was not intact anymore.
Right.
It's just the thing is that they didn't know who did.
That's what they were alluding to, but she's, they're all going by technicalities. So then she's all like, well, you're talking about Daemon. Yeah, of course. No, nothing's happened between us. But it's like, but you doesn't change the fact that you still lost your virginity, girl. That's what I'm asking you.
And I said, ooh, she's just straight up lied. I was like, okay, girl. But
he lost his virginity too, right?
Who?
Kristoff or Kristen.
However,
I think maybe.
But again,
I mean, supposedly
that a man, they wouldn't even question it. They wouldn't care to question it.
He said that.
Daemon frequents that fucking whorehouse.
Right.
He was in love with one of the whores who is now the matron of the whorehouse. Like,
Daemon told the king, we used to do all types of that type when we were her age. What are you talking about?
Right.
But you can't do that when you're a woman because your maidenhood is a selling point.
All that patriarchal tradition and stuff.
Right.
And the king's only arguing point back to Rhaenyra when she was like, if I was a boy, this wouldn't be a thing. The only thing he can say is, but you were born a girl. And that's what this is.
Right.
In the conversation.
Right.
That's called parenting.
However, what's frustrating about that, of course, is that, yeah, we say that, and then here you are telling me stories that I am the dragon, I'm the king, I am the throne. So then why is this a problem then? Then why is it this way, Dad?
Right.
But then that's the thing. That's something that I feel he would work towards changing, and is obviously is physically working towards changing, which is kind of what speaks to what's great about his character. Even though he isn't a great king by the king standards that they have been traditionally looking for, which is warmongering, which is only there for profit and to increase the kingdom's power versus reigning over the kingdom, which is really what that job is for. It's not to increase your power; it's to govern the people that you are there to control. I suppose, but
supposed to, right? But for a lot of them, and what we've seen in history is what do we need to do
they
to
dominate
keep dominate the throne and make sure that the throne stays within our family, and for years to come.
Yeah.
And we see that eventually that it only lasts so much longer, but
and then it was cool. We got introduced to the Lannisters. Like
that was exciting.
Yes,
I'm really excited to see how they take over, and I think that they get their way via the hand. But although one, I'm not really sure because when he had banished Hightower, it was like, who's going to be his hand now? That was like the big question for me between episode 4 and 5. Well, 3 and 4, I guess. But I don't know.
Aegon does become king, right? Aegon does become king, or is that the previous king named Aegon?
No, I think Aegon does become king. I think this
Aegon. The Lannisters take over after they kill the Mad King.
It wasn't the Lannisters though; it was the Baratheons. Lannisters were onto the throne until after Baratheon died. Right. Oh. So like 100 years.
The Mad King was Baratheon? I thought he was a Targaryen.
No. The Mad King was Targaryen, but the one that took out the Mad King was Baratheon.
No, the one that was Lannister, wasn't it? No, it was a Baratheon. You're right. No, then who did Jaime kill? Why isn't he's the king killer?
Aegon.
No, because what I'm saying is Baratheon took the throne after the Mad King.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the Lannisters married into the
Baratheon won that fight until the Lannisters usurped them in one way or another. But it was the Lannisters who killed the king.
I think that's why the King's he was the Kingslayer. Is that right? That was Jaime Lannister was the Kingslayer.
He's the Kingslayer, so it's like he killed a king. He killed the Mad King.
He must have killed the Mad King.
That's what it was. Okay, so the Lannisters, because we get introduced, we see the formation, not the formation, but we see them introduce the Golden Army, which is like the Lannister army essentially. So it's just like, I wonder how they end up being, how they tie them in entirely. So I was wondering, like, because the Lannisters take power somehow, but we actually see that technically.
It's like you don't see that till later, but like you talk, you hear the introduction of
later though.
Castle Rock, and the pride and joy of the Lannister family is Castle Rock, their home, and how they're building it up to be like King's Landing away from King's Landing. So that's like, but you can see like the arrogance of a Lannister with that one introduction. The arrogance of Lannister.
He killed Aerys Targaryen.
Who?
That would be the Mad King, right?
Yeah, that's the Mad King, Aerys Targaryen.
Okay.
I
see. But it's cool to get introduced to some of these other houses.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
And their ancestors and stuff, because they're long-standing houses and they're ones that like we know from Game of Thrones. So it's like, here's them back in the day, still being the same old fucking Lannisters.
Right. But it was just so funny though, because like he comes up to Rhaenyra and it's like, just kind of giving her wine, and he's like trying to talk real smooth to her, boasting about Castle Rock and like a great place to house some dragons, and she's like, "Excuse me, what do you think? What are you talking about? Oh, when we get married. Excuse you?
Right.
No, sir. I ain't saying nothing about that." And him be completely confused as to why she would not to.
Right? He's like, hello, have you seen me? I'm a Lannister. Tooth pain.
Nope, I'd rather get in with the knight that's supposed to follow me around.
Charming hair toss and the whole
Right.
nine. Like, why would you pick it? He's Gaston for 100%.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, but what's cool though is that they show the spirit of the conflict in the Lannister family, wherein they have a lot of arrogance, but they also have a vein of like sure-headedness, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So like he has a twin brother who's not like him at all. So that's like, oh, there's, and of course it's played by the same character versus them like getting twins or something like that. So it's like the twin is just some minor character either, you know. So we meet the arrogant Lannister, but then we also meet the twin who kind of stands to show that Lannisters aren't all like that.
You know, and I think that's like the he came in with all the confidence of a 1980s high school jock. Speaking of that, speaking of the 1980s high school jock, the Heathers musical is on Roku channel right now.
Oh, I saw that.
And it's really good. So, but like, of course, it's the jocks if you've seen the original movie. But that just reminded me of that. Just random thought right there. All right, so who else? Like, what are the other characters that have you like?
Okay, I like the Valerian King, whatever his name is, and like and Corlys and Rhaenyra, who is
Rhaenys,
the one queen who never was.
Yes.
I'm here for that union and their commentary in the background and like their observations. I really like them as a family. I understand like they're just trying to make it in a way while being like good rulers, because he's also on the small council, so he like, you know, he has the king's ear in a way.
And so that makes me wonder, like, at what point does that family disappear? Like, because the Valerian, like Valerian, like, is gone. Like, by the time we get to Game of Thrones, like, we don't see any more Valerians.
Right.
I mean, and probably because of because at some point they're trying to get to the extinction of the Targaryens too, because by the time we get to Game of Thrones, like
together,
like
being so
Daenerys and her brother are in hiding. So you know,
if anything, you know what? Perhaps do we think it starts here? No, it comes much later.
I'm looking at the family tree, but I can't remember enough names to understand it.
I don't know, because I believe Lena is married off to Daemon at some point. If I've done
because at the end of this last episode, you saw them talking when they were dancing, and now he's trying to woo her, kind of a thing. So actually, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's great, because now that kind of relieves Rhaenyra, because it wasn't like at the end, but it was towards the end before they announced that before Rhaenyra was like, I'm definitely going to be with Laenor. I thought that was going to be the alternative. I was like, oh, that's perfect then. So now to marry those houses, Rhaenyra doesn't have to marry Laenor. Instead, Ian will be that link with the sister. Instead, that's what I was kind of hoping it would kind of work out. But then, no. She was like, no, we're getting married. No, we're doing this.
So right now we're having a race. So if you guys don't know that we are also on Twitch, and occasionally when we have some things going on Twitch, we get a raid of some people coming to watch. So if you're watching, thank you, Doug's World, for coming to watch Geeking Out. Please stay as long as possible. We're talking about House of the Dragons, or Dim Dragons drink. And if you're ever a dragon, take a drink.
Every time you hear we're dragon, you take a drink. We all have a beverage of some kind. If that's joining us, please try and bring one.
Next time I will do better and have an actual drink.
It's okay.
But yeah, so like we'll eventually see the downfall or the extinction of House Valerian.
I feel like they happen at the same time with House Targaryen. When they become both extinct, I think they come extinct.
And I think that's probably the downfall of them trying to combine their houses.
Although, I mean, yeah, yes and no, because it is good on their part to bring their two strengths together, but
Right.
they can't exist as themselves only, you know. But then
Right.
who's to say this isn't it? You know, when Rhaenyra, she's heiress now, which is already controversy as it is. So
Right.
then you have, you know, whatever causes her downfall, if Valerians stand with them as their strongest ally, they're gonna fall with them as well.
Right. Very true.
It might be here, and it might just be because she's a woman, and because a woman becomes queen, and that's it. The shit hits the fan.
Right. All right, so we're gonna talk about like our thoughts on the plot or the storyline. So I'm gonna start with you, Timon, because you said that like it started off slow and dry for you a little bit. You had to watch it a couple times to get into it.
Yeah, and I may have misspoke, but it was like more of me connecting with the characters. I knew stuff was happening. I knew they were world building. I knew they were doing everything they needed. I just wasn't there yet with the characters, and it took me to sort of like binge. I saw 1 and 2, and then I rewatched them all the way to episode 5, the most recent episode, and then I love the story. I love the story.
And you really don't have to like take that back though, because like I said earlier, like we're talking about these shows that are the show that's coming off from. Luckily, it's a bit of a time break between Game of Thrones and now, but like you're still kind of feeling the effects of the expansiveness that Game of Thrones had, and the bit of controversy that last season had, as far as like whether or not the storyline was good, whether it was rushed, and the writers for that show are they worth a damn or not. So because like the two showrunners for Game of Thrones don't have anything to do with this one right now.
House of Dragon. They exited. They jumped ship or something.
Yes, and so
you
just kind of keep that in mind.
Negative terms.
Maybe because I know they were in the talks of like creating other stuff for HBO, and I'm not quite sure if those came through or not, or if they were in the process.
One Game of Thrones spinoff got canceled.
I'm
not sure which one it was, but I know they have another one coming with Naomi Watts.
Okay.
But I find the story interesting. The time jumps are weird.
Yeah.
The next one, they're going to be adults, so it's going to be readjusting, and that's how it was with Game of Thrones. It was so many characters, so many places,
right?
So many things that are important. So I have to just sort of adjust to being back in this world again.
Yeah.
So that was sort of like my hold up into watching it. But I enjoy how they address modern issues that back then. So it makes it feel like everything that we go through now has always happened before. The messiness in marriages and weddings and outing people and being the messy side piece, because we had that. We found out about that, and we had hate crimes. It was just like
we had some hate crimes. that wasn't this.
So woke.
Look, it's true, but it's funny because we talk about like as if we're framing modern things in I know we were talking about like wokeness in Hollywood not too long ago, right? I don't think it's really that. I feel like it's sometimes a lot of these things did exist at those times. I mean, women were considered less at that time, so like that the equality fight.
Property.
It was somebody's problem then too, because it was a fucking problem then. It's still a problem now.
Yeah,
it should like, and I say then because like we're talking about fictional place and fictional time and a fictional era, but that era is based off of a past one of our own,
right? Based off of a reality of some point.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that we have to think about with fantasy in general. Yes, it is fantasy, but it still has the bias, the worldview of the creators of that fantasy. So,
and one of which also being the fact that if all of your characters are one race and one color, that is sometimes that is generally usually the bias of the creator. So
right.
that is also in itself not the Bible to go by.
Right.
You can't. You can let things slide there. You know where you can't let it slide is when it's culturally, intrinsic to the plot line. Like you can't have that plot line without that. So then it makes sense to
no one's asking for like for Zendaya to play Princess Diana. No one's asking for that. Like things like that.
No one said exactly.
Meghan Markle, yeah, but
well,
Like,
we'll
Meghan
let that.
Markle should. Meghan fucking
same story. You know.
We'll let that slide.
absolutely.
Yes, but then also like nope, because the devil doesn't need more advocates. So I'm going to leave that alone.
Do it.
No,
I'm
because I mean, because if you think about like with like Hamilton and like the idea of like telling our history with the people of today, but fuck that. So I mean, like
Well, Hamilton was entirely different as well because they changed not only like it was more than just like changing the race. It was really the whole vibe of it. It was entirely different. The whole vibe of it was ethnic. You know what I mean? So honestly, and it's not as if there weren't white people. No, there were no white people actually on that cast. There were no white people on that cast. If anything, more because of the stand against the fact that there is no space for colored people. That they are subject to.
There's so much nuance in all of this. There's so much nuance.
That one especially was nuanced because they said specifically they weren't going to take any white cast members because they themselves, they were giving opportunities to a voice that were otherwise getting sidelined, marginalized. So that was the reason for that. So that was entirely different.
That's called reverse racism, and that's also a topic on Twitter. So
that's a topic between certain people on Twitter. Okay.
You're on the wrong side of Twitter, okay?
You know what else is a topic between certain people on Twitter? The earth is flat. You know what else is a topic between certain people on Twitter? That Trump should still be president and he didn't lose the election. You know what else is a topic for me? We can go for days.
So we can talk about all the topics that are on the wrong side of Twitter and the wrong side of TikTok if we need to, but that's a whole nother episode. Okay, let's do another quick commercial and then we'll start to wrap things up. Okay, y'all, because it's about to be late and Mama's gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
It's sleepy time. All right, we'll be right back.
Anyhow, we're back.
Yep, that's me. Hey, that was because I need the managing of the podcast and I need the producings of the shows and things. So if you have a podcast, video podcast, that idea that you want to get started, not sure where to go, what to do, hit me up.
Yeah,
I'm your girl. I do all the work on the background, so you don't have to, and you can just focus on the talking.
Oh yeah.
That's my job. That's my job. Okay, so back to my run of show, y'all.
Oh, there is one. Let me check. What is we on?
So comparisons. So comparing the two, like this is a prequel to Game of Thrones. So how's it comparing so far?
It feels the same.
It feels the same. It does feel the same.
Yeah, it does.
What I will say is that there isn't enough mystery in the magic yet. Okay. But I feel like Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones was 8 seasons over a long period of time. I don't remember. So perhaps it was this slow at the beginning before we saw any of the magic.
I think so.
Yeah, Melisandre did little things, but I'll expect this series to actually give us magic because I assume magic dies out like in most cultures. Like, oh, dragons disappear.
Right. I think that's the thing though. So
anymore.
Yeah, I think, but if anything, magic doesn't. I feel like the magic isn't really part of the world in this case because dragons almost are like elephants in a sense, just they're there, and they might be slightly endangered. There might be a special thing about them that they're not so common, but
people know. People don't think they're weapons. They're like those shits are real.
And so I think that's the main thing that's the biggest difference is like we don't have the world of the dragons in Game of Thrones. And by the point that we have Game of Thrones, like everything is so like mythical, like literally myths and legends. It's like when these things do pop up, it feels like, oh my gosh, this that's different. Or at least it feels that way in comparison to the story.
Okay, so I only say because I did a little bit of reading on the dragons because I was like, okay, there's like a lot of dragons and I don't know their effing names. So I was like, okay, let me find out. There's like 19 different dragons, but they come from like one region particularly. So I feel like when we see that region, that's when like when we explore that area, because that, you know, that's another thing. The world always opens up after the first episodes and stuff. So when we actually see that region, perhaps if we do, then we'll actually see a little bit more of that little bit of razzle dazzle. But I still think, I mean, it didn't feel like there was as much of it there. But I mean, this is also the first season. We're only 4 episodes in.
Right.
I feel like it started the same way, but they are very heavy on the Game of Thrones part, which I'm here for.
I'm all about hearing the theme song. I'm all about hearing the theme song, and the opening sequence is my fave still.
Oh, so I was watching this thing. If you pay attention to the opening sequence, it changes as the bloodline changes.
Oh.
So the Hightower bloodline now, from the first episode to like the 3rd episode, you know, those bloodlines now connect, because before
Aegon,
Aegon and Alicent and stuff. So it's cool. I like that.
So I'm about to really start paying attention to that part. For me, because I'm always just stuck on the music, that I really enjoy. So, like, any other comparisons right now? Like, because a lot of times, like, the big houses that we see in Game of Thrones aren't big yet. They are still like big houses, but like they're not as prominent.
That's what I love. I love that even in their birthing stages of as houses, their essence from where we saw them in Game of Thrones is still present. Like the Lannisters, they look like sneaky, backstabbing.
Right.
It's another word I want to use about colonizers. They look like those type of things.
Yeah, it's just very full of themselves, and then Baratheons are just.
It's weird though, because like the Baratheons I liked in Game of Thrones.
I'm trying to remember, like, was it beyond like the one king, like the one Baratheon that like eventually dies? Because really, like after that, were there any other Baratheons after him? Because none of his children were actually his children.
No, there's only brothers that were there. The one who was king who died, and the other one who like ascended, I suppose, after, but then also died. So really, the Baratheon line died in Game of Thrones, didn't they?
Essentially. Oh no, because he had bastards.
That's right. Because there's the one, that's right.
I'm sure he dies too. I'm sure he dies at some point.
His face.
Yeah, because we gotta. I don't have the patience to rewatch all of Game of Thrones right now. Like,
no.
Like, I don't have the patience to rewatch all of Game of Thrones and then try to keep up with
but it is cool to
House
see
of the Dragon
still here, and like, you know, the essence of them is still there. I like that. Which is funny though, because like the High Towers, I don't remember any High Towers in Game of Thrones.
What was Littlefinger? Littlefinger was what?
Tower, right?
No, he wasn't. He was a silver. He was he made a name for. He had no affiliations. That was the thing about Littlefinger. He came up entirely on his own. He had no family backing, and he just made a name for himself with help from the Stark wife, the Stark mom.
Yes, okay.
Because he loved her, and that's what made him fall in love with her, because she helped him politically like ascend and stuff. So like, he kind of had a thing with her, more or less.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so what's to come? So, you know, like, the thing is, like, we could read a book and figure out what's to come or what is possible, because, you know, sometimes they take liberties. Or we could just, you know, enjoy the ride for what it is.
I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride.
I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, I really like the whole patriarchy. Okay, but this is like a big thing these days, and especially in fantasy, at least, is like this whole gender dichotomy, and so it's like it's really speaking to that I really enjoy. You know, and it's cool.
You know, it's good stuff.
What was the queen who died's name?
Emma.
And what's the new queen name?
Alicent.
Her name's not on this list.
So Alicent. So there's a but Allie and then Sith doesn't change. Emma is like AEMMA.
Yeah, Emma's.
Or is it Emily? Is it Emily or Emma?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'll do better about this, y'all.
Honestly, I think like, I think they're all like a version of Rhaenys, of Rhys, and all those things. No?
I have Sierra Targaryen. Is that the princess or no? She's the daughter of King Aegon. Oh, she might be the princess.
That's later.
Oh, Aegon V.
You know, sometimes.
Is there a Bertha Blackwood that people know? The parents of poetry, like getting ready to call the parents about PTA.
It's alive. It's like
so and so were cousins, and that was our grandmother, and therefore, like
they're like the biggest problem is that they're all
we're related in this way.
Wait, what is this? Who is this that we're talking about again?
Any of them.
All of them.
And the queen was. No, that is the mom. Rhaenys' mom. Rhaenys.
Oh, Rhaenys. Okay, so Rhaenys' mom. Wait a minute. I don't know Rhaenys. Because Rhaenys was the actual child of the king before Viserys. Or was she the grandchild?
I'm sorry, what is her name? Rhaenyra? That's what it is.
Rhaenyra is the one that's here now that we know of. See, look, this is so much work that we're gonna do later. So if y'all are watching still, help us out. But also,
it is Emma. It is Emma. AEMMA.
Yeah, that's Emma. That's Rhaenyra's mother. Okay, so thoughts? Are we ready for like more episodes? Are we excited for what's to come? Like, how long do you think this series is gonna last? Like, because like they've already skipped how many years now? Like at least 5 years in between.
That's the thing that's kind of like gotten me. I was like, I feel like we are just jumping ahead for some reason.
There's a lot. I mean, if you're trying to do from the point we are now to where we get to where the Targaryens are pretty much extinct or on the verge of extinction,
we might be hitting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, like if we're trying to get from that, like how long or what's the longevity of this show? Like how far they're trying to take with this?
I feel like we're doing that 2 season model where 2-3 season model where you know they do the first and second season and they kind of like wrap up a story arc in that time period, and the story arc is generally like the main plot of the book, the reference, and then anything else after that when they start to really take creative liberty because they've already wrapped it up essentially in the first like two seasons. So I'm hoping that's not where we're headed, but we'll see.
So I guess I'm gonna have to. If I'm gonna start reading a book, I guess I could start doing that. No, I'm gonna get the Audible. I'll get the Audible.
No,
I got a credit.
Well, we will take it as it comes. We will take it as it comes.
I will take it as it comes, but I'm like I still want to like if the story is as expansive as it is, like I'm not gonna be able to like fully pay attention to the book for that long at a time. So like I'll do bits and pieces and then try to not get too far ahead of the story.
Yeah. Wikia. They got a nice Wikia page.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you still be reading them for days. Have you seen those books? That Wikia page is like huge.
Okay, but can I also say that like the Audible where it's like a tie-in with the HBO series is like $42.
Bitch, marketing
on Audible. Shit, let me look at my phone. Let me see how many credits it takes. Anyways,
welcome to capitalism. Hello, it's popular now, so of course it's super expensive.
Yikes, this is not okay. Yeah. But anyways, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Hopefully we'll see Jermaine again. He will join us soon in the future, but real soon. All right, so let's wrap it up. So, Julian, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at Bad Juju double B's double D's on Instagram. Well, on Twitch, 1B on Instagram. All my measurements are off on Instagram. I think it's because they have square photos instead of the full size ones. Anyway, the point.
The double D's and double B's, they're never the same. No one gets measured correctly anyway. It's all right.
Right. One's always bigger than the other anyway.
Exactly.
That's how it works. Anyway. So, catch me there. So subscribe, follow, hit the bells.
Yes. Yes. All right, Tamon, where can they find you?
You can find me at Tamon Kane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. And you can also find me at Scream Kings. And coming soon, October 12th, Wednesdays at 8. And you can also find me on my book page at Saucier Saga on Instagram. So do all of that.
When's book 2 coming out?
Sooner than you think.
Ooh. I'm still waiting on my first copy of the first book.
I know. I'll sign it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Then you guys can find me. Okay, all my socials. All right. You can find me on TikTok at RICKEYZ, Ricky Z. So Ricky with the EY. As well as on Twitch at Ricky Z _ Ricky Z Social on Instagram and Twitter. If you Google me, you can find me. And find me on Facebook and all that stuff. And make sure you like, subscribe, push the little bell, so you can keep up with us on Geeking Out. On YouTube, we also have an Instagram account. We don't have a Twitter. I don't know if we're ready for a Twitter yet.
Twitter's a
lot. Twitter's a lot. But also we do have a TikTok. So if you guys feel like watching little clips of us there and interacting with us there, we're on there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the opening of season 3 of Geeking Out. We talk about the House of the Dragon. Them dragons. One for the road.
Oh, I know, right? Roadie.
Who's Julian, you next?
Yeah, so I'll be hosting the next episode in a couple of weeks. I don't remember what day that is. Wait, I can tell you.
Just know that it's every other week.
Oh, October 3rd. The very beginning of spooky season has begun, y'all. We're excited. So October 3rd, we'll be back right at the beginning of October, and we'll be talking about She-Hulk. So
yes.
And it's got its own little bit of controversy, but do we love it? Do we hate it?
I love it.
I love it.
I like it. I like it a lot.
But
the
controversy though, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. All right, y'all. So that is us up for us tonight. Thank you again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Find us on all social medias. Make sure you share the episode too.
Yeah.
If your friends or family were able to watch it tonight, share the link from YouTube and watch it there. And we'll also do a replay of this episode next week. All right. So, deuces, y'all. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.